Hey, and welcome back to another Learning Java 2D Game Programming video. So in our last video, we made use of our UI system and we created a UI element that actually displays something of use for us. So this is of course the game time. We can see for how long we've been inside the game. Now I also had an ambition to do some information about how many people are healthy and how many people are sick, but we ran out of time. So that's what we'll be doing today. Let's jump straight into it. So first find your game UI package. And this is of course different from the top level UI package in that the top level UI package is the system itself, and the one inside of game package is our implementation, or rather our specific uses of the UI for our game. So let's make a new class in here, and I am going to call it maybe UI sickness statistics. Ooh, I don't know, it was also hard to write, statistics. I don't know. Let's call it that. It's a Shift F6 if we want to rename it. So let's extend horizontal container and let's create the constructor matching super. So in here, the two items that I want to be able to update are a UI text of number of sick, and I want to import that. There we go. And a UI text of number of healthy. All right. So now I'm just going to first set number of sick to a new UI text, give it just something, we'll update it later. Do the same for the other one, number of healthy, new UI text, give it something, close that off. Now, we're going to do some setup here. So both of these are going to be within their own container, and inside of that container is going to be like a title, I guess, or just a descriptive field, and then below it will be the number. So you'll see what I mean. Let's start by creating a UI container, and I'm going to call mine sick container. And I'm going to make that a vertical container, and it means the window size, and we need to import close. So first of all, I want to not have the default padding. So I'm just going to remove the padding like that, new spacing with 0. Then I'm going to add a component, sick container add UI component. Let's make a new UI text. And this is the label, I guess was a better word. So this is the label, and I'm gonna name it sick. And I still haven't decided which one should come first, but we don't have to decide that yet. So sick container, add UI component, and then of course the number of sick. So this is the sick container. Now we want the same for our healthy container. Healthy container is a new vertical container. And then of course healthy container set padding 0, healthy container add UI component healthy. And of course the reason why we can do that in here and not create a text of this is because this won't be updated. It's always going to be sick, it's always going to be healthy. The labels are static, so we don't need to save any references to them. And also the healthy container add UI component number of healthy. So now we have our two containers. And the order that we want them in is the order we'll be adding them to our top level container. So if we want the healthy first, we can just say add component healthy container and then the sick container. All right, there we go. So now we can just switch, and we can easily set whichever we want first can be first. But now we need to implement the update method. So we of course need to update how many are sick, how many are healthy. We need to find that out somehow. So let's first just override the public void update. It takes the state, So let's import the state, and let's remember to call super update using the state. And now let's see, we need to count how many people are sick. So let's just say sick count final game objects, and let's stream. So first we want to filter the game objects that actually can be sick, which in this case, if it's an instance of moving entity, because they're the ones who have the effects. So let's map it. Now that we know that all the game objects that make it past the filter step are gonna be moving entities, so let's map them to moving entities. That means that when we get to this step, we can use it. Now we have a moving entity. We no longer only have a game object, we have a moving entity. So now let's ask our moving entity. So all the moving entities which are affected, so we want them to be affected. Moving entity is affected by, and we haven't written this yet, and we will. So just give it sick class. So this is going to answer for us if the moving entity has an effect of type sick. And let's just call count on that, which is a part of the stream API as well. Now let's just make this method. So create this method inside of the moving entity. And let's just say a question mark for the class, and let's call it class, because that seems to be convention. So I'm just gonna take a quick look at my notes. And so check effects, let's say stream, let's say any match. So if anyone in the stream, anyone in effects, class is instance effect. So if effect is an instance of this class, right? So this should do the trick. If we go back now, this will work, and hopefully this will be fine. If we now take this, do the same thing, call it healthy count, and then we want to negate this. So if it's not affected by a sick class. All right, then we have to update our texts. So let's get the number of sick, we call it, right? Number of sick, set text, sick count. And that probably needs to be string value of sick count, I guess, since it's a long. And the reason why it's a long is because count gives us a long. Right, so now number of healthy, set text, string value of healthy counts. All right, I think this should be it. So let's go to our game state. And just like here, where we're adding the UI game time, let's add a new UI sickness statistics. And let's try it out. And there you can see, one is healthy, 200 are sick. And the healthy one is, of course, us. It's the player. And as you can see, when we bump into people, they actually stop being sick. And this isn't exactly how it's going to work later, but it's a fun little way to test our logic and our UI, and it seems to be working pretty well. So I am happy about that. If you wonder why this is working, it's because when we made the effects earlier, let's see, if we go to our player, you can see here, this was just to test it out. So if we bump into an NPC, we are colliding with an NPC, then we are clearing the effects of that NPC, and that's how that works. But this will wrap up today's video, so thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon. Hej då!